What are some things that you can do during your pregnancy to make it a happier pregnancy? Today, we're going to talk about 7 habits that you can incorporate to have a happier pregnancy and why they're going to make you happier. And some of them are even going to make for an easier delivery. In case we haven't met yet, hello, I'm Hillary. I'm the pregnancy nurse. I've been a nurse since 1997. I have 20 years of labor and delivery experience, and I am your bump to bassinet bestie who is sharing the good news of pregnancy to help you have a better pregnancy, birth, postpartum time. Please consider giving me a follow. I would love to hang with you for the rest of your pregnancy, and like this video so YouTube will show you more great pregnancy content that you can rely on for your upcoming birth. This video is sponsored by the online prenatal class for couples. It really is the easy way to get prepared for birth. You can get started today. First off, let's talk about happiness, right? There are people who are happy even with miserable pregnancies, and there are people who seem very dissatisfied with pregnancies that I would call fairly easy. And so we can be happy no matter our circumstances, but these are things that I think will increase your happiness from where it is right now. Okay, number 1 is move your hips. And every time I say that, it sounds so adult, but I am really talking about getting into deep squats. Now, I am not a great deep squatter, and I learned to do them in front of my couch or in front of a wall because I tend to tip backwards. So if you want to learn how to get into a deep squat, which you can do during pregnancy, look at some videos on YouTube or on social media to teach you how to get into a deep squat. Of course, with either of these, you're going to want to check with your provider to make sure they're okay. And honestly, because I had symphysis pubis dysfunction, I wish that I had taken the time to talk with a physical therapist about how squatting would best work for me. Sometimes I worry that my squats maybe made that symphysis pubis more angry than it was otherwise, although it was very angry either way. So a physical therapy consult should honestly be mandatory in pregnancy. So ask your provider if you can get one. Okay, beyond deep squats, which I think are really important, I've talked about that in several of my videos, you want to make sure that you're also using lateral movements. So when you're moving side to side, we are so used to a back and forth, front to back motion that we don't think so much about those lateral movements. Those are going to help stretch out your hip muscles and also help build those things so that baby will have a more solid support for coming down. And so lateral movements can be really important for you in your pregnancy as well. So I would look for a prenatal workout that includes both up and down squatting, but also some lateral movements to really help shift you out of that range of motion that you're normally getting throughout your day. And don't forget about stretching. Again, deep squats do stretch those muscles, but also stretching side to side and making sure that you're stretching the entire portion of your hips and you're getting a full range of motion can really be helpful. Prenatal yoga can be good for that, but there's probably prenatal mobility training on YouTube as well. I personally love mobility training because I like to move during my stretch rather than staying in just one position. Okay, the second thing is that your due date is just a guess. So many people think that is the day the baby's coming out, and somehow they get it in their minds that they're actually going to go early, even though the studies show that if you make it to 37 weeks, you are likely going over your due date. Now, when they look at the broad spectrum, you might go a little bit early, but if you've made it to term, which is considered 37 weeks, you're likely going to go past your due date. That doesn't mean you're going to, but a lot of times people think they're 37 weeks. Oh, I'm going to have the baby any day now. And then 21 days later, when their actual due date comes, they're frustrated that they haven't had the baby by then. So I was due mid-April. And so I thought I will have this baby by the end of April. So I would just encourage you to think of your due date as like the start of the end zone and that you're going to need to keep running that marathon to the end of the end zone, which may be 1 to 2 weeks later. Of course, you can ask for a 39-week induction, but that is a whole other bag of chips. I do think a lot of people get a lot of emotions tied up in this due date that may or may not actually work for them. So just making it a guess, an estimate, is going to make you happier in the long run. Hey, number 3 is finding gratitude, which is true for all of us. Every morning I sit down at my planner and I write a bunch of things that I'm grateful for. Some days I really have to search for the things that I'm grateful for, and some days they come really naturally. Now, I'm not saying that pregnancy is just like one bed of roses and that you're just so joyful that you're growing another human inside of you all the time, but there is a lot to be thankful for during pregnancy. Even if sometimes it's just your dishwasher or your washing machine, those are things to really be grateful for. Because can you imagine having to go out to a rock to wash your clothes while you were pregnant? I am really grateful for that washing machine. Be grateful for those little kicks, grateful for a supportive partner, grateful for a good doctor. There's lots of things to be grateful for, even though Hillary's brain likes to focus on the negative. I know that that is not doing me any favors. Also, in the post that this video is made from, I have some positive affirmations that might be helpful to find your gratitude for as well. Number 4 is hydration. I harp on this so much. I'm so sorry, you guys. My kids joke that every time they say something's wrong, I'm like, well, you should drink more water. You got a headache, you should drink more water. You got a muscle spasm, you should drink more water. Just not feeling great, you should drink more water. And honestly, that comes from being a labor and delivery nurse, because when you come into us, we're like, how is your water intake? We're always encouraging water. And one of the main reasons we do that is because hydration keeps your uterus happy. And when your uterus is happy, it doesn't just contract for absolutely no reason. We call it uterine irritability, and that means when the uterus is not well hydrated, it just starts to contract, but it's not doing anything to push the baby out of the birth canal. It's just ornery. And I think a lot of us know what that feels like irritable. So when you drink, you avoid all those different things, because those contractions are not going to push the baby out any sooner. They're just going to make you miserable, which is why labor nurses love to push hydration. The next thing is to get prepared bite by bite. Now, a lot of you are thinking, oh, I'm not going to take a birth class till I hit like 35, 36 weeks. And I'm here to tell you that you 100% can do that. But I think it's such a good idea to start your birth class around 24, 25 weeks so that you can just take little bites at a time and grow in your confidence of knowing that you know what to do when the birth time comes. This is in fact why I love an online birth class, because you can take just one lesson a week and really digest it, kind of dive into it. Let's say the first lesson is third trimester testing. So you're 25 weeks and you really learn what third trimester is. Then the next week you can move on and learn more about what contractions are, right? Instead of being deluged with birth information. I got to tell you that Saturday marathon class that the hospital offers, it can seem like a good thing, but in the tour that they offer after that, the people look like zombies because they have been deluged. Think of that giant bucket at the water park coming down on you with birth information. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to take it bite by bite and get prepared for your upcoming birth. Of course, the online prenatal class for couples does that. I purposely made sure that no video was more than 20 minutes. I didn't keep it at like 3-minute videos, which I see a lot of birth classes do, because I want you to be able to pop in, do the video, and then be done in about 15 to 18 minutes long. Okay, the next one is to balance out carbs and proteins while you're eating. Now, nobody wants to fail the 3-hour glucose. I 100% get that. I have a bunch of posts on my website about the glucose test. But even if you don't fail the glucose test, it is still a smart move to balance carbs and proteins when you eat. It is smart to eat the diabetic diet, even if you are not diabetic, because during pregnancy, your blood sugar is more likely to go high or low just because of all the nutrients that baby is taking from you and how hard it is on your system. So when you're balancing carbs and protein, it really helps even out that blood sugar. Now, I do think a nutrition consult would be amazing for everyone to be able to get, but I'm not noticing people taking nutrition consults. So I recommend that meals, you want to be under about 40 grams of carbohydrates, and snacks, you want to be under 20 grams of carbohydrates. Now, if you are pregnant and not diabetic, you can go outside those ranges every once in a while. But when you stay in that range, you're really going to find that you just feel better overall. And yes, there were nights that I had a chicken breast and then a brownie, because the brownie got me my 40 grams of carbohydrates and the chicken breast got me my protein. Was that the best choice? Absolutely not, but it was what worked for me at the time. Of course, you want to look for complex carbohydrates, things that include fiber, but staying in those carbohydrate limits can really help you feel better during your pregnancy. Finally, involve your partner. Now, a lot of people feel real alone in their pregnancy. I know that I felt alone in my pregnancy, and it doesn't have to be that way. Hopefully you have a partner or a support person that is really ready to jump in there with you, to talk about concerns you have about birth, to help you out with specific things, to make you dinner, to just pamper you a little bit. But at the same point in time, you want them to get involved in preparing for the birth process. I see far too often women who follow all these different influencers online and they watch all the YouTube videos, and then they are frustrated that their partner is not doing that with them. Now, here is a newsflash. Your partner is not likely to follow all those influencers because they don't want it randomly popping up in their feed. Can you blame them? However, if you offer them a birth class that can be done with your partner, most often they're going to do it with you. And in fact, the online prenatal class for couples, I actually have key point videos, which are like the cliff notes of birth, which I've had a few friends, that was all that their partner could do with them just because their schedules didn't match very well. So they just did the key point videos together, but at least it was something that their partner was getting prepared for them with birth. Involving your partner and also remembering that you are sort of fighting pregnancy. It's really easy to think that you're fighting your partner or you're blaming your partner or whatever word you want to use for it. But if you remember that you are battling pregnancy and the effects of the pregnancy, not so much your partner. So when you use things like you never take out the trash, not so helpful. Whereas you can say, hey, I can't take out the trash because it's too heavy while I'm pregnant. It reminds them that that is the problem. The problem is the trash and your pregnancy, not that they never take out the trash. Of course, I'm not perfect at this. I've been married for 28 years and I get it. I wish they could read my mind. But the more you can tell them and remind them not to get their feelings hurt, because you're like a whole new person that they really haven't met with all of these pregnancy hormones and pregnancy problems in your life. Now they need to compensate and you're just trying to tell them exactly what you want and need. And I actually go over that a lot in the online prenatal class for couples, that couples need to be really honest about what they need and not get their feelings hurt. And that includes you. Don't get your feelings hurt either. Now, one other bonus one that when I posted on a website, what do you guys do to help you have a happier pregnancy, was to get outside. Now, the time that I'm filming this is in the spring and it's so great to get outside, except for, allergies every once in a while. But getting outside, getting some sunshine, even if it's just on a shaded porch or if it's freezing or hot outside, sitting by a sunny window can really help you improve your mood. So those are 7 habits of pregnant women who are happier. I hope you guys found some of them helpful. Which one do you think you're going to employ? Tell us in the comments. Please come join me in the online prenatal class for couples. I would love to have you there. Thanks for joining us. Please consider giving me a follow. And of course, like this video for other great pregnancy information in your feed.